This is Daily Armenia, CivilNet's daily news digest. Here's what you need to know today. The head of Armenia's Security Council has sought to allay worries about the border demarcation in Armenia's northeastern Tavush region after the coordinates of portions of the border were agreed to by both sides on Wednesday. Armen Grigoryan announced on public TV yesterday that at the completion of the process, 4 buildings in Kirans village and a part of the highway to Georgia will not be within the borders of Armenia according to the Soviet-era map being used to define them. However, he stated there will be no problem regarding the road, as a new one keeping within Armenian territory will be built in the coming months. Grigoryan assured that the government will solve any problems caused by the process, and said, "We are convinced that with this process, we are creating more security guarantees." Grigoryan said some agricultural land in Kirans that has been inaccessible to residents for the past 30 years will be freed when the armed forces withdraw and are replaced with border guards. However, it remains to be seen whether in reality the new situation on the ground will allow residents to start working this land. During the interview, Grigoryan also denied a statement from Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov, who claimed last week that the Armenian side requested Russian forces continue to guard Armenia's borders with Turkey and Iran, even while agreeing for their withdrawal from parts of the border with Azerbaijan. Grigoryan clarified that, in fact, in the case of the Turkish and Iranian borders, Russia is there as a result of long-standing contractual treaties, and so their removal has not been a matter of discussion. Meanwhile, a group of former Armenian diplomats issued a statement yesterday claiming that the border delimitation process has no legal basis, and that as a result, Armenia has already lost nearly 570 acres of land. In related news, the Committee of Ministers, the Council of Europe's decision-making body, today expressed its full support for the border delimitation process based on the 1991 Alma-Ata Declaration. The family of Ruben Vardanyan has called upon the international community to demand his unconditional release and the release of the 22 other confirmed Armenian detainees in Azerbaijan. This comes after their detention was extended this week for an additional 5 months while they are still awaiting trial. Former Nagorno-Karabakh officials like Vardanyan have been held since September when the region was ethnically cleansed due to an attack by Azerbaijan. In a statement today, Vardanyan's family noted, "For 8 months, the Azerbaijani authorities have flouted international law and human decency by keeping Ruben incarcerated without trial and without any proper process. They still refuse to say when any proper trial or hearing will take place on their so-called charges. This decision to extend his detention by another 5 months without any due process is another gross violation of his basic human rights." The Vardanyan family stated that this release should be mandatory if Azerbaijan is to maintain the privilege of hosting the upcoming United Nations International Climate Conference called COP29 in November. They also noted these extensions without a specific determination to justify Vardanyan's denial of bail is another violation of his rights under international law. Speaker of the Armenian Parliament, Alan Simonyan, and his counterpart from Azerbaijan, Sahiba Gafarova, met in Geneva yesterday, according to a statement on the Armenian Parliament's website. The meeting came on the sidelines of a conference related to global parliament speakers. The unusually short statement provided no additional details. Simonyan and Gafarova previously met in March, at which time they discussed the normalization process between the two countries, and stated they would consider the possibility of further dialogue in the future. And finally, the CivilNet number of the day is 100. That's because a recital this weekend in Yerevan will celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Yerevan State Choreographic College, which began in 1924 as a small dance studio. It is now Armenia's foremost dance school, training students in both Armenian folk dance and classical ballet. And as always, please follow CivilNet for the latest news and independent reporting from our contributors on the ground here in Armenia.